Welcome. Thanks for joining me for today's mini talk. It's our dream here at Drive By DND to get one-to-one mini representation for our D&D games because minis are downright beautiful. If you've seen previous episodes, you know I'll be sharing my ever-expanding minis collection, going over each monster's characteristics and providing answers to intense questions, such as how and why I collected the minis and why I feel they're important to have in your D&D games. But please be sure to leave your thoughts in the comments below. Today, we take a drive-by look at a monster type that is feral, hunts in packs, and can't help but laugh when it raids unsuspecting communities. Gnolls. Like a plague of locusts, these nomadic hyena-headed humanoids strike swiftly, aggressively, and prey on the weakest towns and most helpless of villages. But will they challenge our players and get the last laugh? With that said, let's further examine what these bloodthirsty destroyers can really do. Let's mini talk. Gnolls are medium humanoids who possess a nasty mean streak in their DNA. Wearing hide armor and carrying a shield, these warriors are not so easy to hit, having an AC 15. Alongside their 22 hit points, these factors help give Gnolls more staying power than comparable monsters such as orcs. Linguistically speaking, Gnolls can only speak one language, Gnoll, making them difficult to reason with, and forget about telling a joke. However, their inability to communicate and get along makes them impossible allies even for orcs. Yes, Gnolls are enemies to all races, and will even fight amongst themselves. However, similar to orcs' aggressive ability, Gnolls are able to rampage, which allows them to make a bonus action whereby after reducing an opponent to 0 hit points, they can move 15 feet and make a bite attack. It's an ability that complements D&D lore, which states Gnolls are nomadic destroyers. In combat, Gnolls have 3 options: bite, spear, and longbow. Bite being their weakest option, only doing 1d4 plus 2 damage, is still potent in combination with its rampage ability, as previously mentioned. Generally speaking, it's good to compare the Gnolls' combat ability to other monsters of identical challenge rating. For example, their spear, double-handed, and longbow attacks are weaker than orcs, dealing only 1d8 plus 2 instead of an orc's 1d12 plus 3 damage. But they are in fact stronger than another similar monster type, lizard folk, who can make a multi-attack but only deal 1d6 plus 2 per hit. Between those two monster types, Gnolls find themselves nestled quite comfortably as a solid middle ground option to challenge your players with. Essentially, Gnolls lose out a bit on damage output, but its rampage ability combined with higher hit points and AC improve its staying power. Lastly, Gnolls wield longbows, which outperform the javelins carried by orcs and lizard folk. In that sense, between all half-challenge humanoid monsters, I'd give Gnolls the award for most challenging. Congratulations. But how many Gnolls should you have in your collection? Let's just say you'll know it when you see it. Okay, time to take a look at the minis. Behold my collection of Gnolls. As you can see, I have this pack of Gnolls, charging out of the woods like the nomadic destroyers that they are, attacking these helpless villagers, as Gnolls like to do. So, I have 12 in total, and they are divided into 2 groups. I have these 4 bigger, meaner looking ones, and then I have these 8 sort of smaller, nicer looking ones that I did pick up at Miniature Market, all of them, but this group of 8 here, oh, lost one. This group of 8 here was, I got a Miniature Market, like I said, from a company, Monster Binder, and they call these Marvelous Adventure Minis. So they come in packs of about 8, and it was only about 10 bucks. So I didn't have Gnolls in my collection, and I thought it was worth it. I wanted Gnolls, and I do use them in my campaigns, so I picked up the pack. I had to paint them, which I'd rather avoid, but it was worth it for me to just get a lot of them soon. However, 8s still didn't give me the feeling of like a huge pack attacking a village, swarming the players. So I went back to Miniature Market and I picked up these 4 like official Gnolls, I guess from the D&D, Wizards of the Coast or WizKids, and they came painted and they look ferocious and awesome and like really monstrous. So I'd like to have all 12 like this, obviously. However, that would be kind of expensive. Like, they were about $3 to $4 each, whereas I got 8 for about $10, and I think they're even cheaper on Miniature Market if they have sales and things like that. So it's a good buy, in my opinion. And the cool part, for those of us who maybe don't have so much cash to just buy the best minis all the time, it's a good idea. Take some minis from something else and mix in the official minis, and you do really get a cool benefit of having some different looking units. It looks like a pack of similar but different looking creatures that looks quite ferocious. So I find that it was a good compromise, and now I have my 12. I think I'll never need more than 12 Gnolls ever. So I'm happy with this, and probably will try and move on to collect other monsters that I need. Okay, so that's my collection. Now we're gonna take a look at some ways to use them. All right, those are my Gnolls, but why do I like to use them in my games? What makes them special? Firstly, Gnolls aren't orcs. Much like my arguments for using lizard folk, Gnolls offer a different challenge than what most would call standard D&D or fantasy enemy types. Secondly, I didn't know what Gnolls even were until D&D, but I did like the way they looked, and after reading through their lore about attacking remote settlements and that they don't form alliances and are more like a plague, it led me to include Gnolls as a main adversary for a side quest in my first ever homebrew campaign. In particular, their rampage ability is what really sets them apart for me. Now, reducing a player character to 0 might be difficult, but don't let that dissuade you, because in my mind, the best way to use the ability is on NPCs. For example, players are at a trading post, everything's fine, but then screams are heard in the distance. A group of farmers are running into view, shouting, "Gnolls! This ain't no joke! Gnolls! Ah, they're coming!" And so, between the Gnolls and the players is a group of helpless villagers who are the perfect springboard for Gnolls to attack, kill, and rampage towards player characters, showcasing their destructive viciousness, while simultaneously closing the distance with the players to perform a possible extra bite attack. So yes, the Orc's aggressive ability is cool, but can't quite paint the same picture in my mind that Gnolls can. And Gnolls have longbows, as I mentioned, which are superior to javelins, and therefore make Gnolls my go-to monster when considering ambushes on land. Ambushes in water, yeah, lizard folk are king. Again, check out my mini talk in my dungeon design drive-by featuring lizard folk for more ideas. Overall, Gnolls are perfect for ambushes and pack a bit more punch and versatility in a fight. Not to mention, their rampage ability is uniquely gruesome for creating atmosphere and tension in your game. Those are my thoughts. How have you used Gnolls in your game? Do you feel like having Gnoll minis is worthwhile, or do orcs do the job? Let me know in the comments below. Alright, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and please hit the like button, subscribe, and share this video. We'll have more new content for you next week. So until next time, remember, all D&D, all day long, all night till dawn.